Ever since a friend of mine brought Saints Row 2 over for us to play during a sleepover, I really loved the Saints Row franchise. I never went back to properly play the first one, but the second is one of the finest sandbox games ever crafted, and I've had an affinity for these characters for as long as I can remember. 10 years ago on this very day, Saints Row the Third, that is to say 3, was released on PS3, 360 and PC. Unless you lived in Europe where you had to wait 3 more days. Not that I'm bitter, let me tell you, I sunk hours into this game. I played it when it first came out on PS3 and I really enjoyed it. I played it on PC when it went on sale with all the DLC, and most recently I played it to completion again when I picked up the remaster on the Epic Store. About a month before it went free. Thanks a lot, Epic. That's what I get for trying to give myself enough time to make a decent fucking video for a change. Saints Row 3, yeah, I'm just gonna call it that for now, at me if you've got an issue, was kind of a divisive installment to the series. And the fact that it was chosen over 2 to get a proper posh remaster was not met with the best of responses from the fans. And with the Saints Row reboot on the horizon, I figure we're in the perfect position to look back and analyse the positives and negatives of Saints Row 3 and what I would love to see from the reboot. The chapters for this video are in the description, so if there's a particular part that you care or don't care about, use those. But let's start with... We open on an advert for Saints Flow, some energy drink where this guy gets superpowers after drinking it. Wait a minute, that's Piers? Anyway, we see the Saints gearing up to rob a bank with a new character coming as a ride-along.
Hey, you're just a ride-along, man. So don't get all Hong Kong style in there.
I am a method actor. If I'm gonna play a saint with any degree of emotional truth, I gotta make it real.
I kind of like how casual and decent they are, but it's clear that these aren't the same crazy, gritty gangbangers from the first 2 games.
Say sleaze.
Get in line, bitch!
Hey, don't be a dick.
But you call yourself gangbangers? You're a bunch of pussies! We should be all up in their shit like... Fuck!
Josh acts like a wanker and causes the tellers to shoot back and sound the alarm, and we get a pretty cool mission where we rob a bank while riding the vault that we're stealing. It's cool. It's very spectacle based, it's a decent intro to set the tone for the game.
Oh, shit.
The Saints get caught and they're thrown in prison.
The fuck is this? We paid up this month?
Someone paid more.
What happened?
We got arrested.
No, to us. Burke's right. We traded our dicks in for pussies. Seriously. Movie deals, commercials. Saint's name used to mean something more than body spray and some ass-tasting energy drink.
Our brand's worth a shitload of money.
Is that what it's all about?
I find this dialogue exchange a bit weird, because they acknowledge how disappointing it is to see these characters as plastic gangster wannabe sellouts, but this is basically the only time it ever really comes up. If this were a more integral part of the story, the narrative could have some moments on par with some of the best in the franchise or even genre. Imagine the Saints operating as ghosts of their former selves, trying to earn back the right to call themselves gangsters. It's just disappointing that they bring this up to then immediately drop it, as if we're supposed to just accept that this is the 3rd Street Saints now.
It's always about the money, Mr. Gat, which is precisely why our employer wishes to speak with you.
If you'll indulge us.
We meet the De Winter sisters, with one of them being played by Sasha Grey. Yes, the former porn star. For what it's worth, her vocal performance is fine. The issue really is that the character is just so bland. The Saints are taken on a plane to meet some Belgian dude called Philippe Laurent.
I am Philippe Laurent, chairman of a multinational organization called the Syndicate.
Never heard of it.
Our organization is expanding into Stillwater. I am offering you the chance to leverage your assets against your life.
Yeah, so basically this guy wants to own Stillwater, the place that we spent the last 2 games taking over.
Boss, you gotta bail!
No, not without you.
What, there's like half a dozen guys? I can take them.
What about the plane?
I'll fly it back to Stillwater.
Johnny, you can't even drive stick. How you gonna fly a plane?
Details, details. Just cover the boss. Go. I got this.
As we fight our way through the plane, we get a massive amount of hilarious dialogue.
I am going to cut that disrespectful tongue from your mouth. Oh yeah? You and how many of you? Oh, that many.
And so we make it to the end, and
Johnny, we're about to jump.
Right on. I'll see you in still.
Johnny?
holy shit. They just killed Johnny Gat, the untouchable badass from the last game.
Watch yourself, Mr. Gat.
Or what? You'll hold me in contempt of court? You're already planning on giving me the chair. You think I give a shit about you not liking me? Fuck off.
I'm curious if you can keep your cavalier attitude when 2,000 volts are running through your body.
Oh yeah? And I'm curious if you can keep acting like a douchebag when I shove that gavel up your ass.
My client would like that stricken from the record.
The boss's day one companion.
The only other saint who kicked ass like that was Johnny.
Shit, took me half the time.
And they just kill him off with no ceremony. We don't even see it. It's an interesting subversion and a bold move, but I feel like we're entitled to a bit more of a moment for it. Again, it's a plot point that's raised, but not really fully utilized, as seemingly the only reason for it is to make Shandy this revenge-driven hardass. I appreciate wanting to take Shandy's character in a more interesting direction, and we'll get to that. But if that was the only reason for killing Gat, it feels unjustified. In a story sense, at least. It doesn't really contribute to the overall plot. When a character died in Saints Row 2, we see it happen with a beautifully directed scene.
Ish, you home?
Johnny, it's a
We have an explosive shootout with those responsible. We have it reinforced throughout the story. Fuck, we even attend her funeral and get one of the most powerful confrontations in the entire game.
May her soul and the souls of all the faithful departed rest in peace.
You two have humiliated my family for the last time.
Leave, little boy.
Look at me when I'm talking to you.
Fuck off, Akuji. I'm not killing anyone at Isha's funeral. Tonight, tomorrow, you name a time and I will gladly fuck you up. But not now. Get up.
Please, stop.
Not so fun when you're fighting someone who isn't tied to a chair, is it?
I didn't kill her!
You ordered it. You couldn't even let her have a burial, you fucking piece of shit.
No, please, no. Kill me, but don't do this. Just kill me, damn it! Don't do this!
Here it's...
Johnny?
So we see the Saints are now in Steelport, the city owned by the Syndicate. There's way too many S's in that sentence. So we get a brand new city to explore. Although it's strikingly similar to Stillwater. What is it with S's? Why do I write such terrible script? Which might make you wonder what the point of changing the city was. Couldn't the Syndicate just take all the Saints' money while they're in Stillwater? Or couldn't Steelport be more interesting or different? They're too similar to justify the difference from a gameplay and story perspective. Especially as the Saints end up having access to fucking attack helicopters about 10 minutes after we're told they're left with nothing.
I love to make an entrance.
So story-wise, they basically have all their badass equipment after about 30 minutes. Gameplay-wise, the Saints still feel unstoppable. So what was the reason behind this decision? The boss and Shandy go rob a load of guns from the military armory, and we get access to UAV strikes and, as I said, a fleet of attack helicopters. Wow, someone should say that that's their gender. That would be a really funny joke that everyone would laugh at, and you wouldn't look like such a stupid fucking idiot if you did that. Anyway, after getting all the guns, Piers and the boss decide to do touring of the city. This could have been like a generic tutorial mission, but some absolute legend on the development team had the genius idea to include a sing-along moment between Piers, the boss, and one of the best songs on the soundtrack, What I Got by Sublime.
Light me up that cigarette and I strap shoes on my feet.
Excellent choice, and a great callback to that achievement in Saints Row 2 where all the voices have songs that they just sing along to on the radio. I love this bit, and the game would have really benefited from more of these little personal moments between the characters.
Still, an iconic moment in Saints Row history.
Piers finds out where some of the Morningstar, one of the factions of the Syndicate, are staying and suggests we take it over by skydiving onto the penthouse and killing everyone who doesn't leave willingly.
The Morningstar have a penthouse downtown where they're throwing some big party for their global contacts.
And their real estate agent will be there?
Real funny. I was gonna say we crash the party, kill the Morningstar, and keep the place for the Saints. Ha!
Okay. What's the plan?
The Saints will be downstairs until you can unlock the elevator for them to come up.
Wait. If I can't go up, then how will I... Oh, right. Penthouse.
That's right. Meet me at the airport.
This is kind of the iconic mission of the game, set to Kanye West's Power, and it once again feeds into the clear tone of spectacle over depth in the story. But fuck man, does it feel cool.
The Saints aren't going to back down.
Maddie, there's nothing to worry about. My thoughts exactly, Mr. Kilbane. The Saints are no more than a white noise of empty threats.
I'd say empty is no longer applicable.
I'm not exactly sold on these villains. These gangs ain't exactly the Ronin, Brotherhood, or even the Sons of Samdi. They're just poorly dressed people with special weapons. What's the philosophy behind the Morningstar? What makes the bond that the luchadors have more interesting than the one that the Brotherhood does? They feel like diet versions of the previous gangs, which, again, feels like a change that needed to go further, like some real wacky gangs, or closer to home, so we get back to the more incredible character beats that we got in Saints Row 2. We learn nothing about these factions. They function like one big, bland gang with different gimmicks. Almost like that's exactly what they are.
A lot of people with guns in there.
I changed the voice for my guy because it's clear that they had this voice in mind when you played the game.
Put in your tampons and let's do this.
Gotta be said, I kinda like this new take for Shondi's character. In 2, she was the comedy stoner character who'd basically fucked half of Stillwater.
A face shredder, just what I always wanted.
Smoke this.
Ever hear of a pipe?
Pipes cost money. Money that can be used for drugs or shoes.
I know where the Yakujis lay their heads. I doubt any of your lieutenants have that information.
I don't know. Shondi's fucked a lot of guys.
Here it feels like she's finally determined to move past that phase, ready to take action and prove to herself that she deserves to be a saint. I like it. Some people thought she was acting bitchy, but I see it more as a character trying to break out of her own negative perception. It's interesting and I really like it. I think they did everything that they could have done with the old Shandi before doing the weird but good shit that they did in Saints Row 4. Plus, her taking Gat's death really hard adds another layer of depth to her character. Maybe she sees herself as trying to honor him and reach her potential. I will say though that a lot of that is me just kind of reading into it, because again, it's not really explored much further than just presenting it, as if that itself is depth. Anyway, they get intel for where Loren is and storm his skyscraper to kill him, and we see...
What the hell is all this?
a massive naked Russian guy hooked up to a cloning device. Yeah, see, this is weird, but not like good weird. It's a real contrast to the established tone, but not in an impactful way like some of the gorgeous scenes in Saints Row 2. More like in an uncomfortable, almost body horror kind of way. Plus, they keep trying to add jokes to this scene, which just makes the whole thing feel incongruous.
The last time a big naked dude said he could help me, it did not end well.
We free this guy, Oleg his name is, and he helps us on our quest for vengeance. Nah, I'm just kidding. Here's another thing unique to the series.
Time to blow this place to hell.
I hate this place more than anyone, but it would be folly to destroy Philip's research without seeing what we can harvest from it.
We came here to send a message, didn't we?
Why not keep the building for yourself?
Your choice here, boss.
Once you complete some missions, you'll be given 2 choices which relate to the previous mission and result in a bonus for you in-game. It's a cool idea, but it's not really given the depth it implies. This ain't no Mass Effect 2. Or maybe it is, I haven't actually played those games. My point is, you pick one, get your bonus, and it's never brought up again. It's a bit underwhelming, but it's still kind of a cool feature for the game. So anyway, there's some big blowout on a bridge during Gat's funeral, apparently. I mean, I don't remember it ever being mentioned that this was Gat's funeral, but, you know, okay. And we get to learn about the real bad guy in the story, Killbane.
They're Killbane's thugs.
Kill who?
He's the Syndicate's attack dog.
What he did to Johnny's funeral. That's over the fucking limit.
He doesn't care about rules of engagement.
We get told we're not ready to fight him yet, so we chat to more crazy characters. Wowee, gadzooks, what a wacky adventure we're in for. The new characters include a cynical sex fiend and hacker, Kinsey Kensington.
Kinsey Kensington?
Yep. You don't seem that excited about being rescued.
I'm waiting to see if you were sent to kill me.
Girl's pragmatic. I like her.
Perpetually auto-tuned pimp Zemos.
This is a rescue, right? This ain't some elaborate setup for a gang bang.
And stoic wrestler and former partner to Killbane, Angel de la Muerte.
You're not one of Loren's brutes.
The last guy's voiced by Hulk Hogan. Ooh, ain't that cool? Once we recruit these newcomers, we prepare to attack the Syndicate as they prepare to hunt us.
The Syndicate has to answer for what they did. And this time, we're taking the fight to them. Since we don't know Steelport, I brought in some people who do. This is Kinsey, Zemos, and Angel.
The barbarians are at the gate. We need a general, not an ambassador.
This is probably the best cutscene we've had so far. It's actually interesting. It builds up the gang war as like a major event. You watch it and you're like, yeah, man, I like this. Let's fuck up some luchadors, man.
What would you like us to do, Killbane?
Something. Anything. Before I wonder why I keep you bookends around.
Talk to one of these guys. They'll have things for you to do. It's our time now. Let's get this shit started.
So the first thing we do is fuck around in some Tron pastiche to ostensibly track down Syndicate members. In reality, it just feels like a forced-in cyber minigame. We then have a meeting with Angel, who shows us how to take punishment by flinging ourselves into cars and racking up a major insurance claim. Then, just to double down on the wackiness, you have to drive around the city with a tiger next to you. I know some of this shit sounds like I'm just making it up, but I swear to God I'm not. Saints Row 2 story did a lot more to contextualize the weird shit it asked you to do, and all the weirdest shit was confined to the side missions anyway.
My husband's legacy has been stolen, and if I can't benefit from it, neither can Altor. I want you to devalue their property.
At least it made you feel like you were actually justified in spraying shit all over someone's house. Once all these minigames have been tutorialized, and let's be fair, that's basically all that these missions were here for, we find out that Piers has thrown a party at the penthouse. Holy shit! Killer strippers! Wow, how wacky! Let's shoot a bunch of sex workers! Wow! Better tell your friends how crazy this game is! Once we kill all the hooker assassins, we see the Syndicate arguing, and then Killbane kills one of the sisters.
There's a reason Philippe left the thinking to us. We're done here.
Oh no. So now Sasha Grey De Winter, or whatever fuck her name is, ain't best pleased with Killbane. Matt Miller is scared for his life like the little bitch that he actually is, and Killbane is just blinded by anger. Didn't take long to make this group start falling apart, and it doesn't actually make them seem very threatening, does it? I mean, except Killbane, I guess. So we grab some hoes for Zemos, and we hear about the government's plan called the Stag Initiative.
The Stag Initiative marks a milestone in taking back the streets of America.
What the hell is the Stag Initiative?
If it's free porn for everyone, I am down.
We have more wacky things to do, like be sold as a sex slave to infiltrate the De Winter's organization.
I'm gonna auction you off as a sex slave.
Fuck that.
Oh, quit being a bitch and get in the van.
And save a bunch of prostitutes from a ship after Viola De Winter tips us off, still fuming about her sister's recent diagnosis of snapped neck. Yeah, De Winter's defected, and she approached us to work together.
Look, I'm not here to fight. We need to work together.
So what's in it for you?
I get to watch Killbane suffer.
Once all that's sorted, sure enough, Stag gets the green light for Steelport. A huge armed battalion of Gears of War looking motherfuckers show up with crazy futuristic military vehicles to slay the Saints.
We're about to move in.
Roger that. Contact me once you secure the area.
Yes, Commander.
Cyrus Temple, the man leading Stag, makes a cool little reference to Saints Row 2 to emphasize how important they are for ending our reign of destruction.
Let me tell you about Jessica Parrish, a girl from Stillwater who ran away from home to be with her tough guy boyfriend. Jessica thought her life was pretty sweet, until a gangbanger kidnapped her, threw her in the trunk of a car, and laughed as her boyfriend crushed her in a monster truck rally. If Jessica Parrish was your daughter, how far would you want me to go?
Of course, there's not really been a massive amount of innocent collateral in the story of the game, like there was in Saints Row 2. Most of the time we see them interact with regular people as if they're celebrities. There's hardly a public outcry against them, and in fact they're out here signing shit and posing for pictures.
Can I get a picture with the boss?
Say sleaze.
We could at least see them acting like pricks to civilians to make this feel a little more justified. But I guess that would have taken away from the wacky nature of the game, so whatever. Killbane starts slagging us off on a TV interview, so we go sort that shit out. And then we both race to steal some supercomputer at a cool hacking chair to be the bestest hacker in the world, and... Remember when this series was about, like, actual gang rivalries? Like, you'd have a personal beef with a rival gang and spend the story missions actively contributing to beating them, as opposed to half the missions in the game which just all feel super detached from each other. Getting intel from fellow gang members, attacking the drug suppliers and the dealers, it all felt cohesive. Some of the story missions in this game just feel like side missions desperately forced into the story to pad out the length, as evidenced by the way that I've been talking a lot about the story and I'm barely halfway through it. So from now on, let's make this a bit quicker. Once we get the chair, we head into virtual reality to hack the Deckers to death or some shit. Man, I don't know. We're in toilet. How wacky. There's some more hilarious jokes about lag.
Oh, haha, they're doing actual lag. Okay, I forgot they did this, but that's okay.
Then we get a boss fight, which is kind of cool, but also just a bit too bombastic. Again, I don't feel too connected to it. Maybe I'm spoiled by Saints Row 4 being crazy cool, and Saints Row 2 being legitimately great, but this feels like the worst of both worlds in a really obvious way. But I get ahead of myself. Matt helps us out and then fucks off out the game forever.
I feel it's time for me to move on. To be honest, I'm a little scared of, well, dying.
Wow, what a compelling antagonist.
I'm Joshua Burke. Hey, on TV I play Nightblade, an exceptionally good-looking but misunderstood vampire who risks life and limb every week to keep the world safe. The men and women of Stag put their lives on the line every day to protect your city against gang violence. Want to be a real-world hero? Talk to your Stag recruiter today. I know I have.
We see Josh Burke is the face of Stag, so we disguise ourselves as Nightblade characters to kidnap him.
Really?
We go into the PR center to mess with Stag in what feels like a really petulant and ineffectual way, and then that gets them to attack our penthouse with full force. Nice one. We sort everything out with Josh, and Shandy gets grabbed by Stag, so we have a suitably wacky plan. The boss disguises himself as Cyrus and pretends to be taking Piers and Viola in to infiltrate the prisoner's boat that Shandy's on.
Welcome back, sir.
What's up?
That goes about as well as could be expected, but whatever. We free everyone and sink an entire airline carrier. Nice. But you know what's missing? The one thing that was basically inescapable in the early 2010s. Zombies. So we steal a tank from a plane and zombie gas falls out too, so now there's like a little part of Steelport that's just full of zombies. Wonderful. Hey, remember when this series was about... We decided that the best way to fuck with Killbane is to beat him at his own big event, so we hijack cars remotely to kill the other contestants, so it's only me who can fight him.
You should have laid out the juice.
I kinda like this though. It re-emphasizes that we're actually playing quite a villainous character, which is nice, and honestly I think the game could have used more moments like this.
The Stillwater Butcher has graced us with their presence.
You want to fight the best? You fight me.
If you want to be broken by the walking apocalypse, I will gladly oblige you.
Then we meet Mayor Burt Reynolds, yes, Burt Reynolds, to sort all the zombies out.
Viola, is this the kid you were talking about?
Burt fucking Reynolds?
Who else could keep this town running? Besides, I love my constituents.
Sir, I am a huge fan.
And I hate this mission. It's not fun. It's presented like a survival horror right down to the music, so we do this dumb shit that isn't even enjoyable and we move on. Wow, it was really important to have zombies in this game. Clearly that really contributed to the story in a way that elevates this game. Finally, we face Killbane man to man, one-on-one, except for Angel that helps us out, and all his henchmen who help him out. But this mission's quite cool. You know, I kind of like it. The setup, the payoff, it's a cool little moment. Brutal to be sure, and excessive in some ways, but it's still good shit.
Killbane, it's just a match!
It's my fucking reputation! This is my city. I am its Caesar! And I get to fiddle while it burns.
Just like that, we're at the penultimate mission. I told you I'd do it quick, right? The last mission of the game is holding off against an onslaught of attacks until we're presented with an interesting choice.
Killbane's planning on leaving Steelport.
You're kidding me.
He's at the airport. There isn't much time.
Angel.
No, I can't let him win. We can't let him win.
Angel, just hold on until I get there. Damn it.
Hello, Saint.
Yeah, I get it. You're gonna arrest us. Big fucking deal.
I don't want to arrest you. It won't solve anything. People need to wake up and see the threat that scum like you are to innocent people. Once you blow up the Magarak Island, the whole world will see your true colors.
Don't mean to disappoint you, bitch, but the Saints aren't about domestic terrorism.
We'll see how many people believe that once Shandy and Viola are found in the wreckage.
An interesting choice, for sure. But I know which one I picked, and I reckon most people did the same. We already embarrassed Killbane publicly and unmasked him. Plus, who the fuck is Killbane anyway? Shandy's been with the gang since the last game. I mean, why wouldn't you save her? This choice actually does affect something. It affects the final mission that you play in the story. If you go after Killbane, you get a kind of cool monologue from him about the Saints have been royally gimped.
You were a fucking clown, selling energy drinks and lunchboxes. You didn't care about the crowd, just a paycheck. And I changed that.
Bullshit.
Mark my words. When these hands are crushing your throat, your dying breath won't be an appeal to God or a message of love to your family. It'll be, thank you, Killbane.
And then a really underwhelming and terrible final boss fight, if you can even call it that. And then we see Stag's big final course of action, which is to just level the entire fucking city. You stop them with one big explosive huzzah and then make a stand against Stag by becoming the city's new protectors.
I got a message from Monica Hughes and her stooges. Dear bitch, Steelport is under new management and we don't answer to you. This is foreign soil now. Come at my city again and you'll go home in a fucking box. Back to you.
The boss grows, becomes the mayor of Steelport, and actually seems to have developed from the sellout plastic gangster we started with. Meanwhile, if you save Shandy...
Like it or not, the Saints are heroes.
Are you shitting me, lady?
You declared martial law and knocked down half the city. The Saints just saved a treasured monument. Who the fuck do you think the public will side with? Yes, I can answer any questions. Jimmy over there.
You still get to fight Killbane. In space!
Alright, people. When we started tracking down this son of a bitch, we said we'd follow him to the ends of the earth. And we did. But I found something. That... Damn it. Vine.
Cut!
Until it's all revealed to be for a fucking movie, implying the Saints are still sellout plastic gangsters and nothing of significance has changed. Well, I know which ending's better, and it's the one for the worst choice. So that was the story of Saints Row the Third, and honestly, I think less of it the more and more I think about it. It's a story with good moments, even great moments at some points. But it's clouded with a lack of a clear identity, an uninteresting through line, totally ineffectual and boring villains, empty filler serving only to reinforce this stupid, overly wacky tone, and a lot of wasted potential. I can't say I'm chuffed with how the story plays out, and a big reason for that is... the tone of this game is all over the place, and not in a fun way. In Saints Row 2, the tone was pretty consistent. A dark dramedy about gang rivalries.
Got something you want to tell me? Go to hell.
That wasn't very nice.
Daddy, I just bought that table!
Sorry about that. Why the fuck are you here?
Whatever you do to me is nothing compared to what Mr. Akuchi will do to you.
The oil boon? No shit. When's he coming?
I'll die before I tell you.
Yep.
Daddy!
It'll wash out.
It better.
There are light-hearted and funny moments, sure.
Anyone hit and need a lawyer?
But they're tastefully peppered throughout the story alongside some of the most well-choreographed and thought-out dramatic beats of any game from 2008. Yeah, the side quests are basically completely comedic, but as a story, Saints Row 2 has one of the best for these kind of games. Conversely, Saints Row 4 embraces its frankly insane story beats. It knows full well it wants to be an irreverent story, taking itself as unseriously as possible. Is unseriously a word? I've put it in the script now anyway, and it's late on Halloween, I'm not re-recording this. So it really falls into that. Everything's presented with a tongue-in-cheek wink to the audience, and it goes through so many different themes, styles, and mechanics that the tone is consistent throughout. It's ridiculous, and not for everyone, but you can't deny that it knows what it wants to be. Meanwhile, Saints Row 3 is in this baffling middle ground, with too much lol funny random humour pissing away the seriousness of the story, and too many "grr, look how serious this is" moments to let us lose ourselves in the madness. The game's tone feels too insecure. That's kind of how I feel about the game as a whole, to be honest. Insecure. Insecure in its length, hence all the padding with random and only tangentially connected missions. Insecure in its humour, hence throwing everything it can to get a surprise lol out of all the Let's Players. Insecure in its seriousness, hence never giving dramatic moments the impact that they deserve. Gat just dies and it's like, okay. I think it's a real shame, because there's potential for greatness here, lost in a sea of unnecessary nonsense. I think the best way to sum it up is thus. In Saints Row 2, there are a few funny costume stores, but they're quite well hidden and out of the way. It's a reward for exploring the town, and it makes for a fun reward. In Saints Row 3, there are funny costume stores all over the town, marked on the map, and you can just go crazy with the dumb costumes. They don't care, fuck it, go crazy, look how wacky we are, we don't want you to take the story seriously anyway, why would we? The gameplay? Yeah, it's fine. It's probably what you'd expect from an early 2010s open world game. It's fine, serviceable, fun gameplay, nice driving mechanics, plenty of uninteresting side quests with a few decent ones. There's a couple of weird gameplay niggles I have. I appreciate that they wouldn't have thought to have music playing outside the car, but it's something they could have added to the remaster, like saying it's from an MP3 player or something. Some of the guns feel a bit weak and useless, but generally it's not a terrible experience. The gameplay overall ain't bad. One thing I will say though is even at the time, the gameplay didn't feel massively upgraded from Saints Row 2. The leveling up system is decent, but kinda superfluous. I don't see why these upgrades can't just be accessible at certain points in the story or through completing enough specific side quests like Saints Row 2. There are also a load of useless upgrades that I never felt like I needed to use, so what was the point of some of them? It's also really weird that these upgrades are locked behind both a progression and a financial boundary. If I unlock a sprint upgrade at level 7, I can't be given the option to buy another one until level 15. It feels like a weird choice to me. I don't see why they felt the need to change the way these upgrades were handled from the previous game. I do like how it gives players the freedom to only play the side quests they like to earn money, but it also means that there's no real point in doing any of the other side quests once you get the upgrades you want. I'm also of the opinion that a sandbox game is only as good as its sandbox. You look at a sandbox like the one in Yakuza, and there's always stuff going on to get involved with. Meanwhile, Saints Row 3 sandbox feels empty, lifeless, like you really have to work to make the fun in it. And even then, the most fun thing you can do is just shoot a gang member for no reason and up your notoriety. I can't really get on board with Steelport as a game world because it's just so bland. At that point, I don't know why they didn't just stick with Stillwater and put all their efforts into enhancing it rather than building this new place from scratch. The world in the third isn't interesting, and it wouldn't really get interesting until Saints Row 4, where they give you fun new ways to explore it. And even then, that's more having fun traversal mechanics than a fun world. I guess the biggest issue is just that it wasn't updated in any way for the remaster. For the time, this was good and great fun. Now, I'd rather play other open world games with less compromises. A game like Sleeping Dogs has way better hand-to-hand combat, decent gunplay, fun driving, parkour mechanics, and an interesting city to explore. In comparison, this game has better gunplay, but not a lot else, really. I don't know what there is that you would get from this game that you can't get from anywhere else. At least not right now. Maybe it's a fun trip down memory lane to replay, but honestly, especially with the remaster, it left a lot to be desired. Oh, actually, yeah, this remaster's not great. The graphics got a pretty nice cleanup, which, to be honest, is to be expected. Some of the character models are different. The gameplay is identical. There's no noticeable quality of life upgrades or improvements to the gameplay. This is a real style over substance remaster. Just like the game. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's why it's a remaster rather than a remake. But there was plenty that you could have improved from the original game, which might have been a nice thing to do for a remaster nearly a decade after the fact, but I guess not. You know, leave all the shitty AI, leave all the boring empty missions, leave all that bollocks. I mean, why not? The remaster also seems a lot glitchier than I ever remember the original game being. I can't get out. I can't move, I can't aim, but I can shoot and throw grenades. Okay. The other thing I'm disappointed with in this remaster and this is kind of a personal thing, is the blatant disregard for the fan favourite Saints Row 2. The only way to play Saints Row 2 nowadays is on PC with a mod that almost serves as a complete overhaul of the PC port. Otherwise, seek out an old PS3 or 360 and a used copy, I suppose. I just don't understand why the game without a definitive version got passed up for a game which was already available in a decent quality on PC. I'd have much preferred a port job if it meant that resources could go to a Saints Row 2 remaster, a game that would actually benefit more significantly from looking better and being available on current gen platforms. Or hell, why not redo the entire original trilogy? Then you could have had every game in the series on the same platform ready for purchase. Though that's not going to happen due to the upcoming Saints Row reboot. Speaking of, I'm really trying to be optimistic about the reboot, but it looks like it's going to be some shitty generic open world game without a real hook. The character designs look like something from Watch Dogs, the gameplay looks really boring and bog standard. I really can't see this going well. The only thing that could elevate this is a decent story, but I'd be surprised if that comes from this, given that the tone we've seen so far looks like, well, Saints Row 3. It's also got to be said that Volition are not doing a good job at endearing themselves to the fans who basically built their studio, replying with shitty, snarky remarks to genuine fans airing concerns and opinions, and showing a mediocre at best gameplay demo revealing that the game will play like basically every other open world game from the early 2010s. Or like that mediocre Agents of Mayhem game they put out a while back. Remember that? No you don't. Stop lying. I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to play this and say, yes, this is a Saints Row game. Or even just this is a fun game. But for right now, I can't say I'm sold. In conclusion, Saints Row the Third was a big step for the franchise, and even at the time, plenty of fans weren't sure it was the right step to take. But given that it sold almost double what its predecessor did in half the time, it's safe to assume that Volition didn't agree. So now we're here. We had a great follow-up which dialed the silliness up to 11, and was a much better game as a result, a fairly subpar follow-up with some fake-ass fan service, and a completely new IP with characters from Saints Row in it, a similar logo to Saints Row's, the same purple aesthetic as Saints Row. You get the fucking point. It seems to me that Volition are attempting to double down on the success of Saints Row 3 and willing to cast away the fans of the previous installments to do so. 10 years later, it can only be said that Saints Row the Third is at worst a bad installment in a franchise that it seems to resent. I guess it must be tough being the middle child. Thanks for watching this video about a game most of you probably barely even thought about for the last decade, but the Saints Row games are kind of important to me, and I hope I've been able to articulate why in this video. Maybe I'll do a follow-up on Saints Row 2 as well if you'd care to hear about that. In any case, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. As you might have noticed, I'm quite a small channel at this point, so all the exposure and sharing at this stage really helps. And I'll catch you in the next video. I promise it won't be as long of a gulf between the two videos. See you then!